All right, it's time to bust fractions. That's right. Fractions and equations are not that scary. So let's take a look at how we bust them. Let's take a look at this first problem. We know we're going to draw our ultra flip line. But first, before we even start solving equations, we need to ask ourselves, what denominators do we have? Now, these are denominators of 1, so really the denominators we have are 4 and 1. What's the greatest number? The greatest multiple is 4. So we're going to multiply every fraction by 4. Not just every fraction, but every piece of the equation. And this is why. We can cross reduce. So I can look here and say 1 divided by 1, 1. 4 divided by 4 is going to leave me with 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. But 1 divided by 1 is 1. So we're just left with x. Here I have nothing to cross reduce. 4 divided by 1 doesn't do anything. 3 divided by 1 doesn't do anything. But I can multiply 4 times 3 and I get 12. And then here I can't really cross reduce, but I can multiply straight across, and 2 times 4 is 8. Now I can actually solve. So this is my units. I need to move my other units over. Right now they're positive. I'm going to make them negative. Subtract both sides. 12 minus 12 is 0. So I have x equals 8 minus 12. Going to be negative 4. 12 minus 8 is 4. So 8 minus 12 is negative 4. And hey, look, we have x equals 4. Negative 4, we just solved. If we want to check our work, we can plug it back in. 1/4 times x would be negative 4 plus 3 equals 2. So multiply straight across. This is over an invisible 1. We get negative 4 over 4, which really equals negative 1 plus 3. Negative 1 plus 3, that's 3 minus 1. So 2 equals 2. We're happy. It worked out. All right, moving on. Next equation, I have 2 denominators. I have a denominator of 2 and a denominator of 4. Okay, what do they have in common? Well, 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So look, they both have 4 in common. So I need to multiply every piece of my fraction. This is a term, this is a term, and this is a term. Every term gets multiplied. So I have 1/2 times 4, I'm going to put over 1, d, plus 2 times 4 equals 3/4 times 4 over 1. If I don't know how to cross divide, I can just multiply straight across. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 1 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so I have 2d, plus 2 times 4 is 8, equals 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 1 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Draw my ultra flip line, time to solve. These are units. Over here I have these units. They're positive. The opposite is to subtract. I subtract. Oops. I get, oh my goodness gracious. I get 2d equals 3 minus 8 is negative 5. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I get d equals negative 5/2. Is that scary to get a fraction as an answer? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Is it necessarily wrong? Not at all. And I could plug it back in to check. So I could say my question is 1/2 d. But instead of d, I'm putting in negative 5/2. And then I have plus 2 equals 3/4. Sounds like my neighbor's baby is not very happy if you can hear it. Poor thing. All right, multiply across. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 2 equals 3/4. Now to do this, we need to know fraction rules. So this 2 we need to make a denominator. We need to convert it to a denominator of 4. Right now it has a denominator of 1. So if I multiply this by 4, I have to multiply this by 4. So we get 8/4. So let's erase the 2. And let's say 8/4. So I have 8 minus 5 is 3/4 equals 3/4. And it checks out. All right, let's try another one. Here I have a slightly longer problem. Same denominators. So these are denominators of 1. What is my greatest common multiple? My greatest common multiple is 4. So I'm going to do 4/1 times 1/2 x minus 4 times 3 equals 4 times 2 minus 4 times over 1, 3/4 x. All right, let's do the multiply straight across. That's pretty easy. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2x. Minus 4 times 3 is 12. Equals 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Over 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 12 divided by 4, negative 3x. All right, I want to get my x's together and my units together. So I'm going to add 3x to the left. Cross it out because I no longer need it. 3x minus 3x is 0. So I have 2 plus 3 is 5x minus 12 equals 8. I rewrite to make sure I'm not missing anything. Now I need to move my units to the right. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. I get 5x equals 20. Well, what times 5 is 20? If I'm not sure, I can divide both sides by 5. So x equals 4. Let's sneak some space in here to check our work. Let's check our work right here. So I have 1/2 times 4 minus 3. Sometimes it's easier to go back and look at the initial problem. Equals 2 minus 3/4 times 4. Everywhere I have an x, I'm plugging in my answer, which is 4. All right, 4 is over 1, so that's 4/2, which is really 2, minus 3 is negative 1. Bring down my equal sign. I have 2. 3 times 4 is negative 12 over 4, which is really 3. So 2 minus 3, hey look, it winds up the same. So we are happy. All right, last problem. Trying to give you an array of different levels of challenging. So here I have a 3, a y, which would be over 1, a 5, and a 2, which would be over 1. So my two denominators are 3 and 5 because 1 will work with anything. It's super friendly. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 5, 10, 15. So the two numbers I have in common, 15. I could also multiply 3 times 5. Sometimes that'll make my numbers really big. So we're really looking for the smallest common multiple or the least common multiple. So I'm going to multiply everything by 15. So I have 15 times 2/3, parentheses, 15 times y, remember it has to be multiplied by everything, plus 15 times 3/5, parentheses, equals 15 times 2. All right, 15's over 1. Now this is a cool example for cross-dividing or cross-canceling. 3 divides into 3 one time. 3 divides into 15 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 times 1 is 1. So really I have 10. I could have multiplied straight across. I would have gotten 30 over 3, and 30 divided by 3 is 10. So either way works. All right, now I have my parentheses. I have 15y plus 15 and 5. I can cross divide. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Multiply straight across. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1, so we have 9 over 1, which equals 9. I'll rewrite this nicer. And my parentheses. And 15 times 2 is 30. So now I can actually solve. Okay, I need to distribute this 10. 10 times 15, 150y. 10 times 9 is 90, equals 30. Subtract both sides by 90. I'm really subtracting, but it's going to be negative. So we have negative 60. This goes away because I subtracted it. And I have 150y. Divide by 150 to both sides. And y equals negative. Wait a minute. I can divide by 10, and that's going to cancel out my zeros. 60 divided by 10 is 6. 150 divided by 10 is 15. But I can also divide both of these by 3, which is going to give me 2/5. So my answer is y equals negative 2/5. And yes, answers are okay. And you, my friend, are a fraction buster. Brush it off. So, play, pause, repeat as much as you need to become an official fraction buster.